Have you ever wondered what the super rich really think about? I mean, not just about money, but about life, fear, legacy, all of it. Well, today we're basically unlocking their playbook. We're going to distill the core wisdom from one of India's top wealth managers, someone who handles the fortunes of the country's wealthiest families. So, what's the first secret from inside this playbook? Let's dive right in.
Okay, first up, we're going to tackle a really counterintuitive idea. We assume that for someone who's super wealthy, the biggest fear has to be losing it all, right? A market crash, a bad investment, something like that. But it turns out that's not it, not even close.
So what is it then when you have literally thousands of crores? What could possibly keep you up at night? The answer is, well, it's surprisingly human, and it has almost nothing to do with money.
And there it is, a direct quote from the source that just gets right to the heart of it. The single biggest fear isn't about the markets, it's about their family. It's, can we pass on our values to our children? You see, it's not about the potential loss of capital, it's about the potential loss of character.
I mean, think about it for a second. Many of these first-generation billionaires, they built their wealth through incredible struggle and adversity. That hardship, it forged their spirit, their discipline, their maturity. But their kids? They were born into comfort. They may never face those same challenges. So the real anxiety, the core of it is, how do you instill that same resilience and character without the struggle that created it in the first place?
That fear of losing values is so revealing, isn't it? But it kind of begs the question, how did they build so much wealth that this became their main concern? And that brings us to the mindset you need to build that kind of fortune.
We all love the myth of the overnight success, right? That one brilliant idea that just changes everything in a flash. But as this slide shows, that's rarely how it actually works. The real path from, say, a few crores to a few thousand crores isn't about one giant leap across some chasm.
Instead, the whole philosophy, the crucial point, boils down to this powerful three-word mantra: incremental is exponential. It's this amazing idea that small, consistent, daily progress is what ultimately creates massive, massive results. It's less about taking these huge, risky moonshots and way more about relentless, disciplined forward movement.
And this breaks that whole process down beautifully. Step one, it just starts with small daily improvements. Then comes the really hard part, unwavering discipline to stick with it, especially when it gets boring. And the result? That's step three, the incredible power of compounding. Over years and years, that discipline just becomes this unstoppable force. It's not about doing 50 things at once. It's about doing one thing just a little bit better every single day.
So, here's how that mindset actually plays out in the real world. An investor with 1 crore is naturally focused on safety and security. They might keep half of it, 50%, in safe liquid assets, because they still have to think about things like college fees or buying a house. But an investor with 1,000 crores, their thinking just flips completely. They'll put a fixed amount, let's say 100 crores, into a safety pot. That covers literally anything imaginable. The other 900 crores, that's pure growth capital, which lets them have a much, much longer-term horizon.
Okay, so the mindset is key, for sure. But you still need to get in the room, right? How do you actually earn the trust of these clients, especially when you're the new kid on the block? Well, the source gives us this fantastic story that shows exactly how it's done.
Just look at this timeline, you can see the whole journey. In the beginning, just getting a meeting was a huge challenge. The big shift, the pivot, happened around 2011. That's when they stopped chasing old money and focused on new entrepreneurs, people who had just had a major liquidity event, sold their company. The winning pitch, as you see here, was a total change in the model. They went from being sellers to being advisors. They put the client's interests first. And that authentic, number-savvy approach, that's what led to the big win, their first 150 core client.
And that story, it basically gives us this trust equation. And the lessons here are universal, really. First, you align your interests with theirs. Then, you have to show genuine effort and honesty. People can spot a fake a mile away. And finally, you have to speak their language. And for an entrepreneur, that language is always business and numbers. It's just that simple.
So, we've covered the how. Now let's talk about the where. Where is the next decade of wealth in India actually going to be created? The source gives us a really clear roadmap for this.
So, the future lies in these 7 key areas, and they're all deeply tied to India's national growth. You've got the huge ones like financial services and consumer goods, of course, but you've also got these incredibly important sectors like defense, healthcare, and agriculture. And look at that theme right in the middle, The secret sauce is innovation. It's the thread that connects and turbocharges all the others.
Now, beyond just the sectors, there's a massive geographic shift that's happening. And you can pretty much sum it up with this one number, 40. So what on earth does that mean?
It means the era of wealth being concentrated in just a handful of metros? Well, that's ending. India is expanding from about 10 major economic hubs to over 40 powerhouse cities. We're talking about places like Nagpur, Indore, and Pune. That's where the next wave of explosive growth and opportunity is really going to be found.
And all of this, it brings us full circle. We started this whole explainer with the billionaire's biggest fear, and it's kind of fitting that we end here, because this is probably the most profound takeaway of all.
The source gives this a really powerful name, psychological inheritance. It's this idea that the most valuable assets you can ever pass on isn't your stock portfolio, it's your principles. It's the beliefs, the work ethic, the character that allowed you to build that wealth in the first place. That is the true legacy.
So as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with a final thought. It's so easy to get caught up in the numbers and the strategies of building wealth. But the real question this playbook leaves us with is this. As you build your own success, what is the psychological inheritance you're creating? What legacy are you building that goes beyond the balance sheet?